Good afternoon, everybody. It's Lilia from Heal Scotland and the Help Your Sales podcast. And I'm very excited and honoured to have Steve and Jane from the incredible Good Food Project with me today. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. How are you?
Good.
We're great. Thank you, Lilia. That's the nicest introduction I think we've ever had, Jen.
I know.
Nobody speaks quite so highly. So yes, you're making us feel good, and we're very pleased with that. So yeah, we're pleased to be on with you, Lilia. You're doing some great work as well at Heal Scotland, and we see lots of the videos and lots of the feedback. The customers are loving it. So yeah, very good.
And we've got like-minded audiences and followers, haven't we? So we're from the same background of what we're wanting to achieve here.
100%. And when I heard your video, it was years ago when I heard you talking about it, and I was like, this is it. This is a fantastic idea. So can you just tell me how did the idea come about? How did you have the idea and then put it actually into a real live business?
Well, when I had a business years ago in the mortgage game, if you want to go way back. I was in the mortgage game, thought I knew everything, Lilia. We had a really good business. And then the financial credit crunch came along. And we had to sell the business really quickly at a much lower price than we should have got. But I had the biggest wake-up call. That's when I went down the rabbit hole, 2008, because I could not believe how stupid and ignorant I actually was. I thought I was this big guy in financial services, and I knew it all, and I didn't even know where money came from, and I was getting people to borrow it. I didn't know it was created out of thin air. I didn't know about fractional reserve banking. I didn't know that the Bank of England wasn't part of the British government and was a separate private corporation. All of this stuff. So I looked at it, I thought,
but a lot of people even today are like that.
Yeah, they still don't get it.
We're in the minority. There's so many people working in the financial sector that are totally unaware of the system that we work in or that we live in. So, even though, don't beat yourself up, you were in that game, but
I like to beat myself up, Jen. I like to do that.
I'm not.
Yeah, Jane sometimes beats me. But that was so that was a sort of, and I mean a real wake-up call. I'm talking about a life-changing. I took 2 years out and I went onto YouTube and I studied. I went down at every rabbit hole that was there. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I was really concerned. I was concerned about food. I was looking at Agenda 21 as it was at the time. Concerned about that. Concerned about these basket cases in charge. It really opened my eyes to that. So I was down the rabbit hole then. So just continued down that route, concerned, worried, wanted to have my own farm, food, bees, all of that kind of stuff. But never really had a catalyst to do anything about it because life got back to normal. So continued to be awake, but not active. Then we got the COVID, go home, stay at home, shut your door, all of that nonsense. And I knew straight away we were into this stage of this plan, this rolling out of this agenda and what that looked like. And it just re-triggered all that old research. And by fate, a friend of mine was a neighbour of Jane's. And I was talking about this stuff at the time. And Jane was talking about this stuff to my friend. And you want to tell that story, the friend?
Yeah, so the day of lockdown, that's when I woke up. That was my alarm call. So I just plunged down that rabbit hole. And in the beginning of the new day, the early days, I was totally alone because all my friends, all my family were totally hooked to the TV. I switched it off. Well, I'd kind of already switched it off by then, but I just plunged down that rabbit hole and just went into a complete state of despair because, when you are on your own and no one else, as much as I was trying to tell my friends and family, look, this is what I'm seeing, this is where we're headed, that, even in those early days, I was branded a conspiracy theorist. So that's kind of that was my start of my journey. And then in those days, my neighbour, who I'd never really gotten to know at all, I'd been living there for a few years, and you know that when we were allowed out for that hour's walk, even though we went out for much longer, I just got talking to him, and that's when we became great friends in that time. And then we realised he was saying, "Oh, you should talk to my friend. He thinks just like you. I need to hook up the two of you together." I said, "Oh, I probably know him. He's probably in the same groups." And lo and behold, he said his name. I said, "I'm in his group." So because Steve had set up a Facebook group, so I was in that, and then that's when he put the two of us together, isn't it? So we've not known each other that long.
Yeah,
Wow.
4 or 5. Well, right from that point.
Actually, now in 2020, so
Yeah,
5 years.
5 years. And then we, you know, as we kind of, you know, we want you want to do something, you know, is you kind of look at it and think, well, what do I want to work as? And the problem is you can't really, I couldn't justify going back into financial services. I couldn't feed that beast anymore. Lilia, you know, better money, didn't matter. Money wasn't a thing. It was about how do you fight back 60, 70, 80 hours a week?
And working in those corporations or that working environment, you do have to conform, even if it's unwillingly. It's to varying degrees to the ethos of that company, whether it's your own company or someone else's. You do, and you've got to sit and listen to the nonsense that they talk. So, you know, it just wasn't. We were both at a crossroads, weren't we?
You couldn't.
So it was a bit of an opportunity.
Well, we then looked at it and we had ideas. We were doing other things. I mean, you know, and then I said to Jane, I said, I've got 2 kids. I'm really worried about food. I said, I don't want my kids having to eat from these people, and I don't trust their food. I mean, I always say this, a lot of people dodged a lot of bullets in the last couple of years in terms of the rollout of experimental medicine and things like that, Lilia.
Yes.
A lot of people are not dodging the stuff that's in those supermarkets, and they haven't dodged it for years. We all think we're smart, but you're not dodging the other angle that they're coming at you from, and they are coming in hard. If they can't get you in your arm, they'll get you through your mouth and what you drink. They will get you by hook or by crook, and I don't want anything off them, and I don't want my kids to have anything off them. I want to be able to control where my food comes from, and ultimately that selfishly for me was my driver. And I also thought, you know what, that's how you can spend 60, 70. We work crazy hours, Lilia. You're probably the same. There's no rest when you're building this business, but we're 3 years down the line. We started Good Food Project as an idea. Ideas in action are what this game is all about. Everybody pick your road. What fight are you going to fight? Because a war is made up of many different battles. We're battling the food battle. That's our game. We're taking our business skills, which are web marketing, sales, telemarketing, social media, the drive and passion to get this right. And we applied it to food because, as I said, I don't trust what these guys will put in their tins when it comes to the push comes to shove of where they're going with this. I wouldn't touch anything from any of their factories.
Well, they're really creating that. So the people who are in charge of the food supply are also in charge on the same boards and in charge of the food, you know, the pharmaceutical industry, the health industry. So really, it's just one big club, and thankfully we're not in it.
Club. Yeah.
And they're creating customers for the health industry. So it's just one of those ever decreasing circles that we want to create another system. Which was the reason we set up, wasn't it? We wanted to create an alternative system, and just to take away the control that these corporations have over the food supply, over the quality of it, over the control that they have over what we eat, and just to take away the control, just the control that the supermarkets have on the high street.
You just need to look at the direction of travel. The food, you know, they're trying to print meat. They're trying to make meat out of plants. They're going to try and carbon track everything. they're spraying everything in glyphosate and all sorts of nonsense. They're going to try and reduce plastic by spraying everything in Bill Gates' appeal to spray a layer around a tomato so that it looks better on a supermarket shelf, a layer that you have to eat from Bill Gates' packaging, so but that tomato's still rotting on the inside. It might look better on the outside. These guys are playing God, Lilia, with food.
Oh, I know.
You're messing of nature, and it will. They'll kill all the bees if you keep supporting them. There'll be nothing left. That's why they've got their seed banks, and they're all sorted. They'll breathe life back into it for them. And I think we need our own seed banks, our heirloom seeds, our own food. We support our own farmers. You divert those powerful grocery budgets away from that agenda, and we breathe life into our own good food network. And we don't talk about Good Food Project as being this solution for everybody. We are a backfill operation for a lot of people. So if you're based in Liverpool and you've got a local farmer who does meat, or you've got local farmers markets, and you've got a local baker, but you don't have a local grower, and you don't have somebody you can buy all your pastas, or your local deli or farm shop's too expensive, well, buy all that stuff for your local farmer, support him, support the local baker, and come to us for your pastas, your tins, your household cleaning products. Don't give it to your wine. Our objective, your wine. We love wine. One of the good things
we all love wine. Come on.
one of the good things about this job is when you get to new products and you get to taste them or drink them.
Got to do that taste test. It's very important.
It's one of the only benefits you find. So our objective was to create a supermarket type shop. So you get everything locally, and then a box arrives from us with everything else you need. You don't need to touch a supermarket. You look at what they've got. There's nothing in that supermarket. The only thing people say is pet food.
Pet food and baby food as well. They're just the two things.
We've got some gaps to fill, but the objective is to, we've just taken on another warehouse. We've got 3 warehouses now. Amazing. We're just about to expand really, really quickly. And ultimately, the objective is that the customers can own it at some point, where we say, right, okay, we've built it now, got all the infrastructure in place. We've built a business that's sustainable, not our sustainable, not their sustainable. A business that's future-proof. Our job's to navigate challenging times as these people throw nonsense at businesses like us, and farmers are coming in fast with foot and mouth. They're ordering wood to burn the cows and cattle and sheep. They're going to get ready to burn everything soon.
We've got marksmen.
They're ready. Yeah. You've got to understand and read the road. There's no point doing all this research and not acting. There's no point doing all this research and phone and Deliveroo for a rapeseed-filled curry and chips. There's just no point. You're turning a blind eye. You're part of the sleepwalking masses.
Well, you're funding,
but you're awake.
You're continuing to fund them. I mean, that's basically what it is. As long as you keep spending your money with them, you're funding their agenda and you're condoning what they are selling us. So to stop using them is to stop condoning it and spending your money with the farmers, the small food producers in the local communities that support the small people. Well, the big people, really. The corporations are the small people, but just getting back to supporting each other instead of these corporations who just don't work in our best interest whatsoever.
Absolutely. And it's consumer driven. And this is, I think, it's always the message I'm trying to get out, is that these small choices that may seem like a small choice, because people are, I believe people are now starting to waken up and ask, what can I do? Well, what you can do is order your food from you. That's one really simple thing. And it's a spend shift. You're not asking people to go into your pocket and spend something that you don't have. It's just like, have a look at this. And, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. We understand
100%.
that.
Yeah. People, it's a very, very good point you make there. it's that we often say, you know, every pound is a protest pound, you know, and you know, every time you spend money, you cast a vote for the kind of world that you want to live in. Do you want to live in their fast food world? Do you want to live in their printed meat world? You want to live in their hide everything in labels and get round the rules because it's a big boys club and they figure out how to serve you up food that's absolute nonsense, filled with additives and preservatives and chemicals that their friends make in factories? We say that yeah, absolutely. And again, it's that kind of reality of you have the choice to do something different. You can divert your money, but we're not asking for your money. We're just saying, if we can help create part of your good food, the supermarkets got us all.
Yeah.
Lily, you've shopped in supermarkets. We've shopped in
Yeah.
We all have. Deep down, nobody wants to deal with them anymore, but they haven't found the solutions to not dealing with them.
And the convenience thing as well.
It's a convenience thing.
And price.
So, but we can get a box of goodies to people's door that will gap fill anything they can't get locally. Some people do all their shopping with us. It's more convenient and they want to support what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we will look after them, because what we're saying is, in the future, we might have 10 or 20,000 customers and we say, right, guys, we're ready. Every one of you can now own it. Here's the cost. And all the prices go down by 10%. The business doesn't have to make a penny. We run it as a not-for-profit business. All of us, 20,000 people, we own our own supermarket now. Mm-hmm. That's a great place to be, Lilia.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
You know,
I love it.
It's a great place to be. And that's there. That's it. And the planet could be 20,000 people, then another 20,000 people. We could all have different little
create
supermarket hubs,
depots all around the country. That's ideally what we want to get. And then the people in Devon can use their own farmers there and growers and just develop those local networks.
Yeah.
And use us for the main dry pantry products.
Or anything. It's a good point. Or meat, because a lot of them don't have good organic meat, and we do. People love the meat that we've got, Lilia. And we've got a lot of vegans and vegetarians, but they don't. There are a lot of places they fight. You know, you do a meat post and somebody comes in for your group. We've got 170,000 people, you know, and we can post about stuff and nobody's ramming their views down someone else's throat. They're basically saying, we're trying to help everybody. I'm not saying veganism's right or meat eating's right. I'm just saying, I know that you guys eat it all. Our job's to deliver it all. Same as a supermarket. We want to replace them. So people need to look at their budgets. One of the big things you get, Lilia, and it's a challenge, and this is a mindset. We're in the food education game. And we'll do more. These are good interviews and things like this to talk about that kind of bigger picture. But you take cooking. These controllers of this system, basket cases as I like to call them, they have got us into their habits and they understand human nature better than anybody. They know that the human being is a creature of habit. Left his own devices, he likes the comfort of doing the same thing next week and the same thing again.
Yeah.
Now that same thing that you like doing next week might be smoking some of their cigarettes, drinking some of their alcohol, and eating some of their microwave meals, and then phoning a Deliveroo, which is a company that they own as well, and buying food that takeaway shop bought from Booker's, owned by Tesco, because they're not prepared. These supermarkets and the food controllers, the 11 corporations behind those supermarkets, are not prepared for you to eat your food out with the supermarket. If you go to a takeaway, it's still them, because it's Booker's owned by Tesco. Chicken, same farmers, same process. But then that food's worse. So why are you spending £5 to get something delivered to your house in an hour? You could make an organic meal cheaper than that. You're just in the habit of phoning that number. but how satisfied do you feel with yourself? Like what achievement have you got? You bought a non-organic meal filled with rapeseed oil from technically Tesco and the mob, right? That's who you're supporting. You're eating it with your kids, non-organic. What was the date on that chicken before that takeaway shop owner decided whether it was good in? I don't know. But if you've got chicken in your freezer or fridge from us, you know what date's on it, and it's organic, and it tastes better.
And it's fresh.
Can you really, who do you trust with your food in a cost of living crisis? Is it possible that a takeaway could say, oh, there's that stuff, let's put some of that into that, and nobody's going to know the difference because it's all covered in curry sauce? Is that out with the realms of the imagination, that they shortchange you and corner cut and find ways that chicken's nearly off, but tonight it's going to taste okay? I'm big on dates. I don't like to be eating. I used to go into my family's house and I'd go into the fridge and like straight away looking at the dates on the milk and stuff. You know, you want a cup of tea, I'll check the date first. But you don't get to do that with a takeaway. You don't have any quality control, right?
No,
but you're in a habit of doing it now. How good would you feel if you flipped it and you're saying to your kids, we're having an Indian night tomorrow night. We're going to cook from scratch, all organic. And you, my little 10-year-old son, you're going to put an apron on and you're helping me.
Yeah.
Is that better than letting him sit in his Nintendo playing Fortnite and you sitting having a beer with your feet up watching the telly, not talking to him, and you phone a Deliveroo takeaway for some curry house that doesn't care about you? And I'm not getting at curry houses. It could be fish and chips, pizza. I don't care what it is. Some are very good. But we need to start making cooking great again.
Absolutely.
Get good at that. You can have an organic meal for less, and it's organic, and it tastes good. And you could save your marriage, Jane, by somebody saying, "Look, you made the meal last night, and it was great, and suddenly you look a bit better." I might not divorce you after all.
And you're supporting small businesses as well. For instance, I'm just looking at our range of curry blends that we just got in a couple of weeks ago, because we're kind of doing a little a purge on some of our products that contain seed oil. So you've got although they're organic, people think organic, they're all healthy, but some of those organic cooking sauces contain seed oil. So,
small amounts of them, but they're there, and
we don't have many. So we kind of did a little purge of that, and as part of that process, we found this really amazing brand, Steenberg's, family owned in Yorkshire, and they do an amazing range of organic curry blends and spices, not just curries, just mixes from all over the world. So you could be making a recipe from scratch using these amazing flavors.
It makes it easier, doesn't it? It makes home cooking. You've got Rogan Josh, or you've got tikka masala and things like that. It's all there. It's
Jamaican jerk and Thai curry. Yeah, so it's good, and the flavors are so much better, aren't they? And the fragrance is just so much more. It just makes you hungry. So it's kind of re-educating ourselves and just making us not lazy, and getting out of that habit is part of the whole process we're going through as well.
That changing is key, isn't it? The habit changing is key, and the idea that it's a treat. And what's happened is we've got bigger and more beautiful kitchens that nobody ever cooks in because we're eating out and we're ordering in far more. And John Angus from Self Health Food, he was saying he wants to start doing some cook-alongs and use all your produce, so that we're teaching people, like, this is what you need, you can get this, and then he'll teach people live on, and your kids can join in, and then you've got a social thing, and he's already made his dinner for his family. And the great thing about John is he's like, there's the recipe, he's just followed a recipe, but there's just
it feels great.
The spices, they're there, you just put them in. There can be a fast way that's much healthier, and that completely starts with buying the right ingredients.
Well, you could have the organic meal on the table faster than Deliveroo, for less, all organic, and that personal satisfaction of, I cooked that, and guess what? Everybody loved it. They're all saying that was amazing.
Yeah.
Because that's the reaction you're going to get, because it is better.
Of course
But
it is.
they've got us addicted to the nonsense. So you know that sometimes kids are hard to shift. You know, the kids will say, "Oh, I want McDonald's," because they're addicted to McDonald's. But my kids don't eat McDonald's now. They had one the other day out the blue, and I didn't like it, but it was just the only place that was there.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you because Jane hates whenever I talk about McDonald's. But
Hangover cure,
but
and I get
they
really
used
annoyed with her. So.
yeah, it's kind of like that. For some people, it's a hangover cure and different things like that. You know, breakfast. The other thing, Lillian, you could maybe fill us in on this because you'd be better versed in this. You know, people say this, I can't afford organic. And I would say, look at it slightly differently than that. Say, how can I afford organic? Because really, you don't want to not be eating organic and chemical free. Organic's a funny word because, again, that's, you know, why does food have to be ring fenced as natural? It's organic, it all costs more. So what does it leave the other food? What is that nonsense that you're dealing with?
Well, organic just used to be food.
Yeah.
Just used to be called food.
I know. But also they're subsidising the crap. And I mean, it's even more obvious now, isn't it, that if you wanted to buy fresh meat and fresh vegetables from your farmer's market, if you've got 5 kids, that's a lot of money, you know, and a lot of people simply don't have that. But that's what's great about things like all the dry stuff, the lentils, the chickpeas, etc. And I think it's an education thing. But they're also really core deep down is people have to want to change. Doesn't matter what habit you're trying to a new habit you're trying to create or an old one you're trying to let go, but you need to want to do it. And I think all the information that you guys have just been giving there, really a lot of people don't know. My friend Neil McEnroy, who's an economist, he said we're in Scotland, we're economically illiterate. And I would say that we're probably food illiterate as well, because you would not imagine, this is what I don't understand, any government that doesn't want their people to have the best food available so that they can have their bloody economy. What we've got now is a third of our working population unable to work. You know, I mean, it's like, what are they thinking? Or do they think? But we have
a lot of this is food driven, though. The illnesses. This is what I'm saying. And you get some of these people online who, you know, let's petition the supermarkets, let's strike for a day. They have burned their bridges with us. They served us up absolute nonsense. I remember when I was a kid, Angel Delight and Rise and Shine orange, powdered orange, like some space family, right? Why not give us orange juice? I bet you're Mr. Elite guy. You're drinking orange, freshly squeezed orange juice, and I'm drinking powdered orange out of your factory, which is some chemical that happens to taste close to orange. And that's my fresh morning orange juice, Rise and Shine, or Angel Delight, which I used to love, right? But I don't love it anymore. Powdered dessert that all fluffs up made in a factory somewhere. We were not thinking. We were blind. Our parents were blind. We used to cook with lard. We're seeing a lot of people moving back to tallow just now, which is really good. I'm on tallow for all cooking now. I love it. Ghee, love it. Once you go cooking with tallow, you're not going back.
Yes,
it is all about priorities, and you know, our main objective is to make organic food as affordable as possible for everyone, and kind of in line with that. So we offer all our products available to buy in single jars, packets, but we've also got a pre-order section and a bulk buy section, so people can buy a case of 12 chopped tomatoes,
this one right there,
a case of basmati rice. And that way we can negotiate lower prices with all our suppliers, and we will always pass those savings on to our customers. And if they're buying in bulk, then it's going to be cheaper. And a lot of our main staples, our top selling items, are similar in price, if not lower than the supermarket prices. I mean, we are.
But really, this is an interesting one. This is just so happens to be chopped tomatoes, right? 31st of December 2027. Right, we've got 2.5 years on that. You're going to use 12 cans of tomatoes within the next 2.5 years, aren't you? Yes. Definitely. Some people will go through that in the next 3 months. That's cheaper when you buy from us in that way. It's better tomatoes, cheaper, and you've got it there. If the crap hits the fan, you've got something on reserve. Yes. So Tesco don't want to sell you a case of tomatoes. They want to sell you 2 because they want you back again next week. That's their model. Get the little rats and mice running in the little wheel, spinning their wheel back in, because then you're going to get the 2-for-1 Pringles, and you're going to get the sweeties for the kid, and let's get this, and tonight let's just get that microwave meal or cook in the oven meal, filled with absolute nonsense, Lilia, because you're time poor, you can't be bothered, you're not organised enough. It's cheaper when you buy in bulk. And we've got loads of people who just buy all their stuff from us in bulk.
And a lot of them say that budget, actually their shopping budget hasn't actually gone up. Since the regular shoppers with us who buy weekly, their budget hasn't gone up because they're just being they're not being encouraged to buy all the nonsense, and they're just planning their meals better. So
organisation is key, isn't it? And I mean, you could even get together with a friend and buy, say, right, what are we going to get in bulk? It's just that starting point. And again, it's because shopping with you, it's another habit you're changing. And if people are tired and foggy, etc., they're just going to do what they can do. So we really are looking, and it's a kind of chicken and egg, isn't it? You're like, well, if you made a few better choices nutritionally, you're going to have more energy to make even better choices.
And you're in a better mindset as well, aren't you? Your mindset.
Absolutely. And John's a big fan. He wants to get communities cooking together and eating together, which I think is a phenomenal idea.
I like that. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
we need to.
And so that's
the guy. That's the guy with the van and Sky. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. And he's just
we'd like to. We'll get up to see you up there, Mo.
Because he got in touch with us. We want to meet with him.
He's like us. He's 100% passion and driven. And when I met him at first, I was like, it's really nice to meet somebody else that's good. This is changing. We are not putting up with this any longer. And that takes me to the subject of all these weight loss injections and medicines that they're pushing in people now. If we just had better education around how the body works, then you're not going to need these things. And this is why it frustrates me, as I'm sure it does you guys. It's like you're actually trying to convince people, but I'm not sure if most people really understand that they're playing us like a bunch of absolute fools. They know what they're doing. This has been a plan. A lot of people genuinely don't know that. They still don't know COVID was a big absolute con.
They don't know. Yeah. And your point's very valid there in terms of this education process. I mean, I've not tried it yet. I know a lot of people do it. Jane, you do it. But this fasting thing, I can't afford organic, but I don't do any fasting. Okay, I'm not saying that's a way to afford organic, but I sort of I'm saying that if fasting's good for you, Lilia, and you'll be more of an expert in this space than me, and a lot of people say it, your body needs to fast, it needs a break. Well, why not use this as part of your strategy and say, well, look, if I believe that I should fast, why would I eat 2 days more Tesco nonsense when I can just go all organic and eat for 5 days, and I'm fasting, and it's the same money, and I'm better off health-wise, I'm no worse off money-wise. Where there's a will, there's a way. You don't. That's what I said. Don't say I can't afford organic. How can I afford organic is the question. How can I afford not to eat their food? Because I'll tell you what, if we keep supporting them, you're only going to have them. We're lucky. We're lucky. I'll tell you right now, Lilia, we will write a book on this one day, Jen. This has not been easy to get to here 3 years ahead. I couldn't explain in words. I can explain in grey. I had a full head of dark, always especially like hair before I started this.
Disguise mine.
And look at it. Look at the state. That's what 3 years in the food game this year. I'm only 30 years old, right?
It's been great therapy. It is good therapy. I mean, it's been a very, very hard work, but for us, it's therapy. And the thing is, we have met so many new people that we wouldn't otherwise have met, amazing people like you, for instance, that our paths would never have crossed. So that is definitely the silver lining through all the last 5 years for us, for sure.
Yeah.
My son said it years ago to a reporter, trying to sell health to Scottish people is not a good money-making idea, because him and I had a gym in the city centre, a health boutique, and we got hit with the 2008 crash. So I absolutely hear you on that one, Steve. That changed everything for me too.
It changes it, yeah. And a lot of people listening will have had that experience. That was a wake-up call.
Yeah, and I think, the thing is, people, my pals are like, what, you want to heal a whole country? And I was like, well, I just saw it as if you can just get enough people to see they're taking the piss out of us, and there's are you just going to carry on allowing that to happen? The rates of burgeoning chronic autoimmune disease, are you just going to sit back and allow that to happen? Or are you going to go, actually, let's go to the Good Food Project, let's support, as I said before, you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution, and it's a choice. And this is about, Neil was talking about this as well from an economic perspective. We have to get political. Now, none of us want to, right? We would have been happy if somebody else did it, but nobody else is doing it. And that's why there's people like you guys are popping up going, no, enough. A friend of mine phoned me the other day. Her niece had been rushed into hospital after taking that Mounjaro. She is furious.
What is Mounjaro? What is that?
It's a slimming. I don't know what it's a drink.
I can't believe they're all going for it. I cannot believe it.
Because everybody wants to be slim, right?
Is it like that Ozempic thing, is it?
Yeah, well, I don't know whether it's injection. I'm not 100% sure. But what I do know is how angry she was. And it's like coming on the back of what they did with COVID and the COVID vaccines. And now it's like, I mean, when are we going to say, and your video, I think it was yesterday I saw it, Steve, was like, it can only poison you if you eat it.
Yeah.
So we can blame them all we want, and we know the corruption and the greed. I think most people can't perceive that level of greed and evil. They just genuinely can't. So they think, no, they can't have meant it.
It's a good point. I mean, this is what I'm saying. There's various levels of compliance, for want of a word that will shake people up. If you're still buying off that mob, you are being compliant with it. They want you buying it, subsidized food. I wouldn't take food off my enemy. If you're in the old days of the courts, they had guys to say, you're going to meet someone to maybe declare peace or declare war, or you're going to try and get a truce going, and they'd offer you a goblet of wine. And you say, well, I've got a guy here who drinks that because we don't trust you because you're my enemy. He's going to drink it. Is he still alive? Okay, I'll drink your goblet of wine now because he's still alive, right? And you wouldn't have taken food off your enemy then. Do you think these people are our friends? They're not our friends.
And that's the other thing. And many of these big corporations have bought a lot of organic businesses, to try and get into that organic industry.
Yes. Well, that's what they do. They just buy up the opposition.
Reduce the standards, so.
Of course they do.
The supermarkets only created organic own brand supermarket labels because people were leaving them.
Yeah. There
was a time when the first time that people woke up to their crap in the food, and a discerning, awakened, and pretty well educated group of food activists, you could call them, they went and said, I don't care. I'm going to my farmer's market, and I don't care what I pay, because I'm paying a far greater price to pay for that low-cost nonsense from those fake food corporations and their street corner dealer, the supermarket, who's dishing it up for them. So they went out and they voted with their wallet, and they paid much more then to get organic food, to get them back, because it left a hole in their bucket, and it left a hole in their agenda, because they didn't want you eating good food. So they said, come back, we've got our own organic now. We've put our label on it, and it's our organic. I put any of our products up against any supermarket label. You try them, you try their stuff, you tell me what's best.
Yeah.
Not a million miles away in price, buy it in bulk. You put our tomatoes, you buy them in a case of 12, You buy their ones, you compare and contrast, you see which ones you like best. I'd say product by product across 2,000 products in here, you're going to say, I like that. Do the blind challenge test. Tesco, I'm not going to say Tesco. Did I just say Tesco there? Tesco baked beans, right? Look at the reviews on their baked beans. A staple, toast and beans. Used to love it when I was a kid. Still do. Toast and baked beans. You look at the reviews, 1 out of 5. People like Bullets. It's got an organic label on it though, Lilia.
Yeah.
It's absolute not. See, just because it says organic, there's organic here and there's organic up here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not all organic is equal. Not all food is equal. Not, you know, you've got the choice. These people are corner cutters by nature. Do you think they're sitting trying to find ways to give you more and better and bigger? And they're looking for ways to reduce the quality of organic. They want it as entry level as possible to just about say it's organic and no more, and find ways for them to make money on it. As I said, I don't trust them with their food, and I don't want to go back with their food. So go back to them for my food. I don't want them to change their ways, and I go back. They've busted that relationship, hoping that they abused the relationship. We're gone. If we've left the supermarkets, where are we going? Where are we going for our food? You need to grow some.
Yes.
Even if it's just some herbs and spices on your windowsill, you need to grow some. Grow some in your garden. Barter with your neighbour. You cut his grass, he gives you some. Work it out yourself. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's a plan in your area. Just make the decision that you're not buying off them.
Even this, I mean, there are some organic brands that are, as I say, are owned by these big corporations, and that's another one of our policies, that we won't stock any products, any brands that are even a 1% owned by any big corporation. So for the likes of, well, we were looking at Puckatees, weren't we, right at the beginning?
But Puckatee, organic tea, but they're owned by the mob, you know. So
just, and Green and Black chocolates. So, you know, the most unlikely brands that you would think, oh yes, they operate with integrity, they're totally autonomous. No, they're 1% owned by Cadbury, so we won't not even look at them. So
yes, well, I mean,
corporation as much as possible.
Do you know what's great is that you guys are, well, you're very clear in your values. You're also very clear in your vision, and you're coming up with solutions. And that's what we all need, is clarity, because people are tired. They are confused. What should I eat? And also, let's talk about Barbara O'Neill, that absolute angel. You've brought her to Scotland as well, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Barbara. She's coming to Cheshire. We did a great event with Barbara last year. So we're the UK distributor for Barbara's books. There's a lot of fakes out there.
You told
all UK books, all UK, it's easy for them. A books, I mean, if they can make a fake Gucci handbag, they can make a fake book.
Of course they can.
It's far easier, and they cut out Barbara altogether, and you get a really bad product. But you're giving your details to scammers, and what these scammers are doing is they're phoning you up and say, "We can get you an appointment with Barbara, and she, you know, $2,000, and she'll talk to you." And what it is, it's AI. So you ask a question, Barbara, I'm worried about this and worried about that. And they just plug it into ChatGPT and it spins it back and get Barbara's voice. And she says, well, what I would do, Lilia, is this and that. And you think you're talking to Barbara. It's the level that these scammers will go to. Some of these big places that sound like big rivers online, a lot of the stuff you buy from there is nonsense. It's, you think I'm getting cheap magnesium. You've not got, have you got a magnesium tester? Do you know you're getting magnesium?
No.
Again, who do you trust with your food and essentials, your supplements? Where there's a will, there's a way for the crooks as well, Lilia. Absolutely. And again, one of the things that we're trying to do at Good Food Project is say, we're on the same page as you, Mr. Awakened and critically thinking consumer. We're on the same page as you. We're thinking the same thoughts as you. So we're out there negotiating for you, finding the stuff you want, negotiating with the farmers, finding good farmers who are really nice people to deal with, Jen, and really nice. Everybody who buys our meat, for talking sake, would be over the moon if they met our farmers.
Yeah.
They'd be absolutely over the moon to think that these people were in some way connected with your food from a karma point of view, just from a nice person point of view. You went to go and meet Tesco's farmer. I don't know where you would meet them. You're going to meet some kind of factory somewhere where cows are getting pushed through a factory production line.
I know.
I mean, you get into that, well, what difference does it make the diet? But it makes a difference because they live good lives. And again, it comes through in the food, because if you're being mistreated and in a pen and your body's always in these animals are in fight or flight mode all the time. That's permeating out into the meat. It's hormones. It's a stressful meat. They're feeding it GMO, a lot of the stuff as well. It's GMO food. It's nonsense everywhere. It's trustworthy. It's trying to be try to represent the consumer's views. We are you and you are us type thing. We're on the same page. We're trying to create something that we need for our families and your families. There's strength in numbers. The more of us who do it, we'd be 10% cheaper. We get another 10,000 customers tomorrow, we'd be 10% cheaper.
Yeah, I know.
That's substantial, Lily. It makes a big difference.
It just increases.
Yeah, we're all in it together. And the way I would look at it is, if it's good enough for your family, that's all that I need. Because I think our disconnection with what we're feeding our kids is just crazy. And there's more data than you can shake a stick at now to link so many issues. And I see in the States now, they've actually, there's so many young kids have got arthritis and type 2 diabetes, which is just completely food driven. They are now starting to sue their companies. And I'm like, well, that's good, because that's really the only thing they care about is money. And it will be the tobacco industries all over again, where they've just lied through their teeth. The government have allowed them because they're getting backhanders. The whole mess, sordid mess, just carries on. But there's no excuse for us now, because we're way better educated. Maybe you don't know everything yet, but what you do know is when somebody's actually telling you the truth and when somebody has actually, their agenda is that you feel better. Because otherwise, why on earth would you be doing it, knocking your pan in, day out, thinking about ways to get people to listen, to inspire them, when really what you want is them to feel alive and happy and healthy? Because what I do in my private practice is I work very often with young women who've been diagnosed terminal. They've usually got children. And I'm just like going, where are we going wrong that our young mums are getting sick? It's just bonkers. Things have to change. There is if you can't see the level of disease, and if you're not think we, the people, need to change this, the politicians aren't going to do it. Big Pharma certainly not going to do it. Anybody that's making money out of you being sick, which is pretty much everybody in the mob, I like that. So we have to start turning the sales round and making completely different choices. And I would say that coming to shop with you guys is a very simple thing, even if you're just buying one or two things to start with, if there is any kind of
but this is the key. We have got food with our customers' names on it for decades to come. That's our job, to ensure that supplies will get through no matter what. These guys can throw anything at our ability to trade is up to us. If they try and stop us in some shape or form and try and stop free food, I think it's going to be a real challenge for them. So our job is to say, and you're not going to convince everybody, Lily, the people, it's 80-20, 20% of the people are going to break. I don't think I've used this example yet, and I kind of think about it often. In the past, right, this might be one of those words that gets taken down on the internet. So in the past, there was a lot of people who were in bondage to others, slaves, if you want to put it that way. They bought their freedom. They saved up and they bought and they paid money to get out of that. We, unfortunately, have to pay slightly more money to have your food freedom until we get more people, and then we'll be as cheap as the supermarkets, and it's us, and we own it. But you have to pay for your freedom. Because if we went down by 10% today, we're not here tomorrow.
Yeah.
So people say, oh, but we're
so
not making
expensive.
fortunes, Jenny. And the business doesn't need to make money, but we need to survive to get to the point where you've got enough critical mass to say, we now don't need to make a penny. We're a non-profit business for the sake of all of you guys who now own it. It might make some money, but it's not in the money-making game. We're in the money-making game for survival, because you have to have a
build
margin
it, to invest,
to survive, because
build.
our job's to be here. Our job's not to disappear because we couldn't make it work, because
Yes.
people, you need to be 10% cheaper, and I'll come. I say, well, you need to pay 10% more to allow me to get 10% cheaper, because I'm up against the supermarkets who are subsidising crap, so you eat it.
We're kind of the early adopters, you know, that graph. So anyone that's shopping just now are the early adopters as we climb up and then get that critical mass. But the cooperative idea, that can be anyone. That can be customers. It can be farmers who want to supply the network. It can be people who want to run their own depot. It can be logistics experts. It can be anyone with skills, knowledge, experience in the food industry, or just a will and to make a change. It's all those people that we want to form part of this idea that we've got.
Yeah, and we're refining a system.
Yeah. What was the how did you phrase it now? So that we're actually guaranteed food, because it's been written in a lot of big books and in a lot of conspiracy theories that the Hunger Games could come on. And if they shut all the supermarkets, what are you going to eat? So if you have
if they put
food freedom,
they're going for carbon tracking, right? They are going for carbon tracking. They're going to charge you extra for that food. Our job's to navigate through these really uncharted territories, Jen. It's like,
and they're going to
you can say no. You know, we can opt out and say, well, we're a wee private club. We're over here. We're serving our 20,000 customers. You guys all go and do what you want. Let us. We're just another experiment of how it can work. You go and do your idea over there. We'll keep this running. Our job is to keep the roof over this place's head and ensure that it's there. If they throw the kitchen sink at us and in some way they get to us and people like us, I think we're there at that point. I think we're at the point of no return, and you're actually saying, well, if you want to invade our bodies that much, we might as well go to town with you, as we would say in Glasgow. And that's where you might end up. But I don't think we need to get there, because I think we just say, no, we're doing this for a bunch of people for various health reasons. They're buying this way, and our job is to position and structure a business to be here. That's why people are coming to us and hopefully supporting us. Because if they come to us, we'll say, well, you've been a customer for 5 years. We'll still keep serving you food for the next 10 years. They could say to you at some point, don't take on any more or whatever. They're capable of anything, right?
I know.
But we're capable
Absolutely.
of anything. We're capable of anything. If we put our acts together and we put our heads together and we put our wallets together.
There's always opportunities and adversities. So it's just working your way.
Jenny, we you know the plans we talk about and what we see next and how we move next. We're nowhere near the finished article. We've just got a new warehouse. We're taking it on this month. It's about to go really big, really fast, but it's still nowhere near where we can be and what we can do. There's probably an easy 2 or 3 million people who feel as we do in the UK. You need 10, 20, 30 good food projects to service those people.
Yes. Yeah.
Whether that's under the umbrella of Good Food Projects or companies like Good Food Project have to pop up. But I'll tell you, if you're going to be a good food project and you're going to pop up and service this market from a standing start, be prepared for a really challenging time, because setting up a food business is not easy. We've been, back to your Barbara Neal Sorry, how far away can you? How far away can you get? That's like Billy Connolly talking, and he deviates with Barbara O'Neill. Yeah, we sell Barbara O'Neill's books. People love them. Barbara O'Neill events. We've got one in Cheshire in May. We've got her coming to Crieff again. We've got her coming to Turnberry. Some people don't like Donald Trump. Some people love Donald Trump. It's a good Scottish hotel. We're happy there.
And
we're not into cancel culture. We're not into saying, well, if somebody says, don't go to Trump Hotel, I hate Trump. Well, you write that to me on a Bill Gates computer, on a Zuckerberg, Facebook, Facebook platform. You're on Bill Gates' computer, on Zuckerberg Facebook, sending me a nasty email from your Hotmail account, which is the mob. If you want to talk to me about where I hold an event, you know, let's get our priorities right here. We don't do cancel culture. We don't tell people what to think. We don't tell them to be vegans. We don't tell them to be meat eaters. We do what we want to do for the reasons we want to do them, and we expect people just to accept that and respect each other's opinion. If we can't get, if people can't see the other man's point of view, then we're going to hit. And we've been there before, Lilia. So yeah, Barbara O'Neill, on our website, goodfoodproject.co.uk, you can see all the Barbara O'Neill events we've got coming up. Amazing. You can watch them online. You can come in person. They are life-changing, Lily. You do events, you know what the impact is emotionally on people at the end of an event, and the life-changing qualities of the events that you put together, and what people feel when they come together and they put their phone down and they get a digital detox and they get out of their normal routine and they go and jump in cold water, which Jane's desperate to do soon. But when they do all that, you know the effect. We know the effect of 500 to 1,000 people watching Barbara O'Neill, and then they're all having coffees together, and then they're sitting on Clive de Carle's magic chair and getting Tesla devices rubbed on their necks and bodies, and they're all doing the exhibitor stuff, and they're buying all the supplements that they want. They're on an absolute high, aren't they, June?
It's very uplifting. And many people who came to the event last year, some of them were on their own and they were a bit anxious about, how will I get on and being my own? But by the end of it, everyone made friends. There was no one felt excluded at all. It was very inclusive. And many people have made new friendships and connections, business connections. So it was great therapy for everyone. Really.
Yeah, that's the business connections as well, because at Heal Scotland we're about of course food matters, and of course cold water matters, and of course all the other things, but it's educating people on the other ways to do it. Because more and more people now are starting to question, are these treatments really making people better? Is it right for me? And if it's not right for you, what else are you going to do? Because some bodies are needing a lot of care and attention. So education allows education, inspiration and support. And that's what we find, even at the festival there. Everybody gets together, you were great. And then they go on to make more business together. And it's community is immunity, isn't it? And you cannot beat people face to face. You just can't. No. You just cannot. I did 2 days up in Stonehaven on a social entrepreneur networking thing. Women in business, again, not for the money, for the community. There's a gap in the community. They set it up, and then, very often they get worn down, begging for fund and all this stuff. Whether it's a banker or a funder, it's all the same stuff. I'm like, no. Come on. It's time to break free from all of that nonsense. And the power is with us. That's the thing. It's like, we could just be like, no, and tomorrow, that's it, game over. If enough of us do it. And it's just a great saying, I think, is there are people who see, there are people who will see when shown, and there are people who will never see. And we're really looking for the people that will see when shown. Because I do believe that most people are good and they're just busy trying to get through their lives. And, conversations like this can just spark that idea. And think, right, okay, next shopping, we go to the Good Food Project.
Yeah, I would say to people, put in a test order of the things that you buy most of, and coconut milks and
Yeah.
tomatoes and
Yeah.
you know all your different types of
Do
beans.
a shop with your mum or your sister or
Yeah,
your
do a shop. We'll
friend
get
or
beautiful
neighbour.
pastas and stuff like that. We'll get beautiful fresh bread. The meat's amazing. Fruit and veg is amazing.
Yeah, and you can order by a Sunday. So we ask our customers to place all their orders by a Sunday. We place all our orders on a Monday and get delivery that week. So they can either choose to get delivery that week or they can get the following week if they're needing.
It's a good example of that actually. And I know we're kind of short on time, but maybe 5 minutes. Have we got 5 minutes more? But I think
no, carry on, please. I'm not short of time. It's you guys.
Yeah. If you take our model, fruit and veg is an interesting one because fruit and veg is perishable. You know, it has to.
Yeah, that's a challenging one.
It's a challenging one. So the supermarket's model is stick it on the shelf, spray it in a peel, try and make it last longer, and just guess roughly what people want. So they can't have the dragon fruits and pineapples, etc., because they don't know people are going to buy them. So they kind of take guesses, and that's how people end up on a Friday. They're in there and they're all fighting over black bananas because they don't know how many they want. Now, we know we've got some people who order 50 bananas because they've got a certain eating habit. So if I've got one person who wants 50 bananas next week, am I meant to guess that and have 50 bananas waiting for? What if I have 100 people? Yeah. So if I get my guessing wrong, our model is order by a Sunday night. We'll get our order to the suppliers, and you're ordering for the following week in a lot of cases. Okay, so I get your 50 bananas and I get his 30 bananas, and I order the right amount of bananas. They all come in, everybody gets their bananas, and the same with meat. Same with veg boxes. It's pulled out the ground to order. These big supermarkets are just guessing. We can take that model to anywhere in the UK, and suddenly you're saying, okay, we're in Manchester now. Where's a local farmer similar to our local farmer here? He can get the delivery to us because the farmer's a good guy to deal with. But he doesn't necessarily want to deal with 300 customers knocking on his door because everybody wants a conversation with him.
Yes.
Look at the time. What he'd rather do is say, I'll give all my meat to you, which your farmer here does. He drops the meat off at us. We pack it in boxes because they want the meat and the veg and the bread and the washing up liquid and the crisps and the wine. They want it all together, Lilia. He's not got that. So we're the back. We're the bit in the middle. We're the interface between the grower, the farmer, and we're saying, well, we've got the models. I'll tell you on a Monday morning what we need. You get it. They start butchering that day. Our chickens, for talking sake, people are ordering chicken from us on a Sunday night. That chicken's lying in its bed having a great wee dream that night. The next morning, that chicken's still running about for a couple of hours in the morning. And then it's not. And then it's not.
It's on your plate on a Wednesday night.
Because you pressed the button and you made that happen. And that's a better model. These supermarkets have been going for 100 years. We've got a better model than them. There's no waste in our model.
It means that we've not got money tied up, so that helps keep our costs low. It reduces waste because we're not throwing out a whole load of perishable things that we can't sell. And it's also not space in our warehouse tied up with stock that is going to sit there for months on end and go off.
Well, that's right. The supermarkets waste lots of money thrown out. You go into a supermarket and they'll say, marked down, used by tomorrow, these sausages. We don't have those sausages because we just ordered the amount of sausages you guys wanted.
Yes.
You know you're going to eat sausages next week. You know you're going to eat sausages next week anyway.
Yeah.
So, again, that's an educational thing as well, Lilia. That's getting into a different way of doing business. And if they try and shut us down, I'll say, well, shut them down first because their model's less efficient than mine. So, you want to talk about zero? Try and shut me down. Shut them down first because their model's worse.
We've got a more environmentally friendly.
If you want to be environmentally friendly, we're in the survival of business to get food supplies through to people no matter what, Lilia. That's our game. If it's efficiency driven, it doesn't matter. We'll be more net zero. I don't like net zero. You want to talk about net zero? We're more efficient.
Well, your chicken's getting kept in the field
Yeah.
rather than on a shelf somewhere, which makes much
And it
more
lives
sense.
and it lives twice as long as their chicken.
And a happy life.
Yes,
It lives twice as long, and it's not artificially plumped up.
And their eggs as well.
Eggs,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. But they're coming for everything, and we have to breathe life into the new
new
food
ways.
network. We have got an
Absolutely.
opportunity to play a part in it, and our business can dovetail in. We don't want it all. We just want a wee piece. People can use us for whatever they want. Some people just come to us for the toiletries, personal care, shampoo. They buy in 5 litre tubs. Great way to buy. You wash it, because that's one of the big things. People run out of washing up liquid.
Yes.
Tesco sell you in this wee bottle, fairy liquid. You bought it for years. Buy one, get one free. Okay, I'll buy 2. You're still back next week because you've run out. We're selling it in 5 litre tubs. So if you run out of fairy liquid or washing liquid with them, you jump in your car, you're burning petrol to go and get something you ran out of. And while you're there, Pringles, buy one, I'll get another one. But with us, you've got it in your cupboard, 30 scooshes, and you've got a full bottle of washing liquid again.
It saves you a lot of hassle.
You couldn't even get in the car that fast. You couldn't get in the car that fast. Why has Tesco never sold it in 5 litres? Why have they never chosen? People would buy it.
Because they want you to come back.
They don't want you to have the savings associated with it. They don't care about plastic.
And they want you to come back next week.
They want you to come back next week.
But don't you think they've done the same to animals as they've done to humans now? The food for a lot of animals is crap, and the vet bills are extortionate, and they're vaccinating all the animals. I mean, it's just they've just moved the similar model onto the animals. So I'm sure if you had a nice pet food range, that would, because people
we have been looking at that. It's a difficult one to get right, and again, it works with pre-order in a small warehouse. Again, pet food smells funny, Jane. I don't like the smell of pet food.
We're kind of looking more at a sort of an affiliate connection, aren't we, so that they can take care of it. There's something about selling pet food and human food in the same warehouse. I don't know,
but we can team up with companies and say, this is our choice. We've done the research. We think these guys are good.
That's probably a very good plan. But I think it's the same thing. And I've noticed, like, my kids have got dogs, and they're much more aware now of what they enjoy to eat and what what's actually in the foods. And I think because the reality is going to the vet's expensive. You want your animals to stay healthy because you love them. But also if you're on a finite budget, you also don't want the worry of that. So,
Well, even dogs aren't living longer. They're not living as long as they used to. Like I grew up with dogs, and they used to live till they're 15 years old, and now it's 8-9 years old for certain breeds.
I know,
and that's because they're now getting vaccinated. You never got your dogs vaccinated when I was young. It was just
absolutely not.
And no one makes that connection.
No, and they're playing God, as exactly as you said earlier, Steve. They're playing. It's like we know better than wherever we all came from. We're superior. It drives me insane, and I can't believe that people still fall for it. But it's I think we are. Somebody said my favourite saying of this week is, "You're not being broken, you're being woken," and I thought that's my definitely. There's so much stuff going on, and people are struggling, and we want to just do things that can help because we know it helps.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just taking responsibility for our own health again, and not allowing these people that control.
The mob, exactly it. So, well, listen, I think that's a great place for us to finish today's chat. I mean, I've put your website into the box so people can obviously get in touch with you. Is that the best way to get in touch with you, through the website?
Yeah, we would say check out the website. Take a stroll down the aisles of our online supermarket. If you walked into a physical supermarket and it looked like ours with all the woo-woo stuff that's going on, you'd think you'd arrived in heaven. You'd be over the moon if you walked into a supermarket and you saw all this stuff. And that's nowhere near where it's going to be. the books we've got on cancer and all sorts of things that we've got, Jane, that, you know, you never see them in Tesco. You see 50 Shades of Grey in their place, you know what I mean? Whereas we've got some good books that are going to help you. So we're a completely different animal, but have a look through the website. Don't do anything. Just look, get your calculator out. Look at our pre-order section. That will save you some money. Think about, you've got long shelf life food there. Nothing. I'll tell you what now. People need to have a month in supply just in the back and rotate that round. That's a much better way to get to this just-in-time shopping. Just-in-time shopping, they'll say, right, we're going to have a little card that you need to get in, a little thing on your phone to get in. The food market's all up in the air, and see this week's shopping, you're going to have to get that, or you're not getting it. People will just say, I need it because I need this week's shopping. The same as they needed to go on holiday. So they took whatever they had to get. They'll find a way to make you shop with them when push comes to shove, and that will get the tech in that Carbon tracks you. If you want choices, support businesses like us, not just us, but businesses like us, and breathe some life into this new food network, and we'll have a fighting chance here. There's a small window to keep food in its traditional form good for people. Garbage in, garbage out. They sell garbage. You're going to turn into a very sick person with their nonsense. We're trying to do the opposite.
Yeah. And I mean, this is really the key thing, isn't it? If you want to be healthy, and it's about quality of life, not just quantity of life. And if you want your kids to grow up with the best possible health opportunity, there is really no choice. We have to make different choices. We have to.
Yeah.
And it's getting that message out. So I cannot thank you guys enough for creating the Good Food Project. I'm delighted that we've got this in Scotland, and there's incredible things going on in Scotland. There really is.
Yeah,
and I think it's really nice that we collaborate and we keep each other up, because it can be exhausting. You can feel like giving up, but then there's just that spirit inside of you that's like, no, we can't let the mob win. No chance. It's just
no, you can't let them win.
Absolutely.
No, that's great, Lilia. Well, you're doing some great work, and your videos are great, and I like seeing your events and their conclusion and stuff like that. You can see that people have got a lot out of them. So well done, and anything we can do to help you promote them, please let us know, and we'll email out to our Scottish base and things like that as well, for sure.
Fantastic. Well, Scotland's wild medicine is really, it's everything that nature provided, the food, the light, the elements. It's all there for us. And it's our disconnection from that that's made us sick. And all we're saying is reconnect to real food. It's so simple, but it's no easy, as they say. But you guys are doing an awesome job. Huge gratitude. And there's a few questions on there. Yes, it is recorded, and it will be on all our socials. It'll also go into Spotify as a podcast. Thanks, Emma. Everybody's saying what a great project. Hi, Barbara. Yeah.
Hi, Barbara.
Together, Leslie Ann Wanders, two of my most favourite people.
Oh, yes.
Leslie Ann, we love our customers. A lot of customers say, pick up the phone and, can I add something to my order? And we're like, yeah, no bother. You're not going to get that at Tesco and stuff.
To know them and what they like and don't.
Well, it's again, going back to my friend Neil, talking about going into I don't know if you know this stat, but when they put Walmart and the likes into big towns in America, the voters turnout went down, and they were like, "What the hell's that about?" Because you're not walking into your little local. It's a transaction as opposed to a social interaction. Amazing. And these so I know you guys now, and of course you want to. As soon as I know you, know your family, and I want to help you. Whereas if you're just taking my money at the checkout, who cares? You might say hi, talk about the weather. And I think that's fascinating. And the breakdown of our communities as we used to know them, where you had all these beautiful wee shops, everybody knew each other, and you knew they survived because people shopped in their communities. And to talk about Neil again, because we just get some phenomenal facts about wealth extraction. Scotland actually is a very rich country. He said up about 18th in the world or thereabouts. where's the money going? It's been extracted out of the country, or so, and that's it. We've allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
So again, it's the whole thing. It's like, what are we going to do about it? We need to keep the money in our country and keep the money to you guys, and to whoever else, all the people within our communities that are doing their very best to move us away from this quite scary trajectory that we're on to this much greater one, which is in sight if we just all decide to together and make different choices.
Yeah,
so guys,
it's not there for everybody. It's there for some, though, and it's there for enough. It's there to give security to some. You won't get everybody. The shoulder-shrugging masses aren't going to care. We're not talking to them. We're not geared up for them. None of them work here. Everybody who works here is of a certain opinion, and they're all here for a very good reason. So we're fighting that good fight, and our customer base is made up of customers who are thinking critically, and there's a lot more out there who are thinking but haven't joined us yet. We say to people, join our Good Food Revolution. We're just part of it. By working with us, you will support your local farmer, butcher, baker, grower as well. That's your Good Food supermarket place, and we believe that's the time is right for that model right now.
Could not agree more. It is critical that we all start making the right choices. Thank you so much, guys, for the amazing work that you do. And I'll hopefully come to visit. Have you got a plan to set up any shops?
This is the main shop just now. The next phase is about just batten down the hatches here and put the last pieces of our infrastructure together. You're never finished. There's a sign above here that says work in progress, and it never comes down. We'll never be the finished article, but our heart's in the right place, and we know what we want to do. People who deal with us understand us quite quickly, what we're about, and we've got a great customer base. So thank you to all our customers. Thank you to new customers for considering us, and we won't let anybody down. We're in that game.
Right, thanks so much. So guys, everybody listening, please spread the word, share this interview. I'm sure it's inspired you as it has me, and we will, I'm sure, be talking to the Good Food Project again really soon. Cheers.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Leah.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye.